Hey guys, so yeah, right out of the gate with this episode, I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant here, but I really want to comment on the beginning of the chapter with CP0 and the shifting dynamics in the battle, because to me, what that CP0 guy says in this chapter is not only indicative and proves to me just how quintessential O-Tama was to turning the tide in this battle, but it also proves to me once again that despite having the greatest intelligence agencies in this goddamn world, how inept the world government really is when it comes to how they've approached Wano, specifically because they were so laser focused on like the belief that pretty much Kaido had all the resources, had all the power, and that he was the one who was going to take control of the country, but and have dominion over Wano, that they didn't even think for 1 second to factor in one little girl that would turn the tide of that this one little girl would turn the tide of battle so much. And don't get me wrong, I kind of understand that she's a little girl, obviously, but in a world of devil fruit users, all that shit, you should factor in every fucking possibility. Really, everything should be considered, even the tiniest freaking detail. And frankly, it's not just the government, because this chapter was, and frankly, it's not just the government, because in a lot of ways this chapter was the linchpin, where the Straw Hats not only got a major victory against the Tobiropo, which I'm going to get into, but it's also showing that we are seeing the overconfidence set in, and that Kaido might, even though Kaido does have the strength and power to back it up, at the same time you get the sense that Kaido might be claiming victory a little too early just because he defeated Luffy, and there's even a hint of a chance I saw in this chapter of how Kaido could be defeated, but I have to wait to see how Oda plays this. But yeah, getting back to the government, for me, it's like one of those things where it's pretty much okay to be analytical. Obviously, obviously the government is very good at that, at hiring the most analytical people. But at the same time, letting little details like pretty much Tama's abilities slip is something you might want to actually consider in your analysis. Because if you don't, well, it's fucking moronic. I'm sorry, but it is. And and okay, let's talk about Ulti's defeat in this chapter, because once again, Nami and Usopp, those two lovable idiots, proved to be my two, the reason as to why those two are my two favorite pretty much non overpowered characters in One Piece, and sometimes even in fiction, because once again, Nami and Usopp came in clutch where it fucking counted. Because they not only defeated Ulti, but more importantly, they also took out Bao, completely cutting off Kaido's information network, and not only robbing Kaido's forces of that advantage, but also turning it against them. Again, this is what I love about Usopp and Nami. They might not be the strongest of the Straw Hats, but when you need someone to turn the fucking tide of a battle, usually they're the ones you can depend on to do it in the situation. They will come in clutch when the situation absolutely calls for it. Although I do have to say, Zeus, look, Zeus, don't get me wrong, dude. I'm glad you're alive and everything, but I know you're kind of, I guess, possessed Nami's Cilma-Tact, but never do that shit again where you take control of it and morph it and all that shit, please, because it's just creepy and evokes weird phallic imagery. Dude, just please don't, whatever you did in this chapter, please don't ever do that shit again. I'd rather not get into it in detail, but yeah, but I will say, credit where it's due, credit where it's due to you, Zeus, for taking out Ulti. And again, because Bao let that shit about Ulti's defeat slip, before she was taken out herself, it's Bao pretty much guaranteed that the tide of this battle is going to turn. It's interesting how something that was the beast pirate strength ended up flipping and being its downfall almost, in a way. Obviously we still have to wait to see how the rest of the battles play out, but But yeah, because of what Bao let slip in this chapter, I think it is safe to say the tide is gonna shift in certain aspects here. um, because and the bigger question though is how much it's going to shift. Because I think we can expect Kaido's forces to be more or less defeated. I think this is also going to be the turning point where the Toby Ropo are basically going to go all out, and we're going to see just how powerful they really are. Although again, I still think that the Straws are still going to overcome them. But I think again, it's a point where Toby Ropo are going to really just go in ham and show everything they've got. And and that's not even taking into account Kaido himself into account, who is still the wild card. Because even if right now it seems like Kaido is kind of falling in the same trap a lot of Luffy's antagonists have before, which is overconfidence and over underestimating Luffy and the others and claiming victory too soon. At the same time, Kaido has proven to have the strength and ability to back it up. I think the only hope there once again lies in whatever Tama's message was to everyone on Onigashima and Yamato herself, because whatever Tama's going to say might just be the boost everyone needs to reorganize and refocus on the battles that matter, and we'll probably even see a lot of others starting to head directly for Kaido himself. So yeah, there's that as well. Um, with that said, though, let's talk about the very brief battle between Kaido and Yamato at the end of the chapter. Because honestly, at this point, even though Oda is still clearly building Luffy up as Joy Boy through Yamato, I I don't I don't entirely think it's really just again it was probably just what it was probably exactly how as to what happened with it probably was exactly what happened with Momonosuke, and what he read was that Luffy was the that Luffy was the that Luffy was in fact Joy Boy. But at the same time, I still can't help but get this weird sense that what Oda's doing here is he's making the title of is that he's making the title and the responsibility of Joy Boy almost kind of a shared thing between Luffy and Momonosuke, at least in the sense where they both possess a different attribute of Joy Boy, where like for example, Momonosuke possesses Joy Boy's leadership, whereas Luffy possesses his strength or something to that effect. And again, that's just kind of the thing I've gotten right now. But even putting that aside, I think I think Yamato might in fact be the key towards defeating Kaido, but not necessarily the way we think, because I have no doubt that Yamato could easily lose this battle fighting Kaido alone, and I definitely believe that you basically need everyone under the sun in order to help defeat Kaido still. But I think, but I have, but the thing is, Kaido seems so hellbent on making Yamato Shogun of Wano that I don't think he's willing to actually kill her even now. Like it's one of those things where Yamato herself could, like, just for existing, could be the key to defeating her father. Because as long as she's able to oppose him or just stand against him, that itself I think will cause Kaido to lower his guard and allow an opening in order for him to possibly be defeated. But again, right now it's really nothing more than just a crazy theory, and I don't know how much of it is true. But it's like one of those things where the there's a sense of just how complicated the relationship is between Kaido and Yamato, that I think Yamato herself is in fact like one of the key towards defeating Kaido. Now again, whether or not it all plays out in the end that way, I don't know. Again, with Kaido, it's kind of been curious, because again, even though he's right now in a similar situation to a lot of Luffy's foes before, I still kind of weirdly believe he's going to win this. I don't know why. Um, and and yeah, obviously the other thing is that Yamato says she is, and the other thing that kind of really points me in that direction of that Kaido can still win this despite that idea is that Yamato even says herself that even whether that if, after she's said and done here with with her father, she is going to join Luffy. And yeah, just the fact that she says she wants to join Luffy, that in itself tells me, yeah, it might not fall as perfectly into places we're thinking it will too. That's the other thing. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. From on Twitter, and us to Crunchyroll, and be sure to hit the notification button, just to get notified, and just share the video around, guys. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later.